Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing here at the end of the year so that you can get this information out to anybody who is wondering. We just finished Gospel in Life last week. We're going to do what we'll just call Week 9 this coming Sunday, where we will talk about what we just accomplished, where we're going from here, and that sort of thing. Then the week after that, we'll start a 4-week series on idolatry, that is, killing idolatry. We'll have a couple of Christmas-ish services, the 18th and the 24th and 25th. And then in the new year, we're going to start a series on Haggai, which will be only 3 weeks long, where I'll basically sort of cast the vision for rebuilding the Christian community, which is what Haggai is all about. And on the 15th, I think we're going to have a joint service with an African-American church from Sun Prairie, where we'll be talking about actually abortion and racism, the two great injustices of our time that we can talk about. And hopefully we'll have some really cool interaction, maybe some really good music too. So Pastor Harold Rayford is the guy, and Faith, Hope, Love, Tabernacle, I can't remember, is the church. So that'll be cool, I think. And then we're going to be in a series, we'll do 3 weeks on missions, and then we'll be in 1 Corinthians probably the rest of the calendar year. So that's what we're going to be doing sermon-wise. In terms of the end of the year, there's a couple things I want to talk about in relationship to what's going on. The first is that last Sunday, I don't know if you can see this attendance sheet, but last Sunday, if you look down in the corner here, was the most people we've had basically, since I've been here. And we're kind of getting to the point now, there were 556 people here total, and we're getting to the 2 service point, which actually should be really exciting. So here's what I would say. If people are feeling like the church is getting crowded, like they couldn't sit where they normally would want to sit, and they're kind of frustrated about that, just tell them, look, this problem is going to get solved really soon. If you just hang in there for a couple of months, and we can get up a little bit further than here, we can have 2 services. And then it'll be back to the way it was before, where there's plenty of space, but it'll be for a great reason. We've gone to 2 services. So there'll be fewer people here, but it'll still be pretty exciting. And I think that'll be great. But if a bunch of people say, oh, it's too crowded, and they just kind of drop out, well, then we'll keep bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. We'll never get to 2 services. And it'll be really frustrating. And once we go to 2 services, it'll be so much easier for people to participate in helping children's ministry, and then we could have 2 ABF hours, and there's a whole lot of really cool things we could do once we get to that second hour where we can have 2 hours that mirror each other. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you are too. And so I think that that'll be a really good thing. So try to help people hang in there, and this is a great time to invite people and see if we can get that 40 more people we need to make it a really cool split into 2 services. So there's that. Secondly, the other thing I want to talk about is kind of where we are financially. Financially, we're actually in a pretty good place. If you look at this graph, the red line is 2 years ago giving, the green line is last year, and the blue line is this year. And I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the blue line is kind of going up. And so each of the last 3 years, we've been doing better and better financially, which is really cool. However, here's one of the issues we're facing, is even though we're above budget, which is great because we've put $25,000 away in a reserve fund, which we've never had before, and we are, I think, maybe $17,000 to $20,000 ahead of budget in terms of giving. Here's one of the things we're facing. The building's 20 years old. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't been fixed, and no money has been saved to fix it. The last 10 or 15 years, we just haven't thought ahead. When we haven't had any money to think ahead, and people have just been trying to keep things going. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've just been trying to stay alive. And so there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. So last year, about this time, we were just trying to get into the black. We were trying to catch up in our lag behind giving. We wanted to get into the black. We wanted to make sure that we were financially solvent. And we totally did that. We've been in the clear ever since. And it was a huge step forward for us. But now there's another step forward we have to take. And that is that we need to fix like our grounds and buildings and stuff. We need to undo what we haven't done for 20 years. But here's the good news. If we can give this money, and if we can pay off some of these things, if we can fix some of these things that need to be fixed, we can come up from the 20 years we didn't do it, and we can stretch out 10 or 15 years so that we can start saving for these things so that the next generation of people aren't going to be in the same position we are. We're going to be as wise as we can so that this money is available for them, so that when it comes time to fix things, we'll be ready for it. So this is one of the last major steps that we need to take to come into a new era. I think that there's really 3 steps. There was the get solvent, get out of the red and into the black solidly. 2 is to sort of reset the building. And 3 is to really run things well, there's a few staff positions we're going to need. And I think that's really going to be the next step. But that can't ever be a year-end gift. That'll have to run differently. And so hopefully this is one of the last steps that we'll need to take to sort of capitalize. The next one is going to be when we take another step into a new building loan to pick up the pace of us paying off of our building, which really keeps us financially crippled a little bit. And that's another step that we're going to have to take as time moves on here. But the next one, just to kind of get us into real time, is going to be this year-end gift to fix a lot of things. I have a sheet here that has a bunch of stuff that needed to be done, and a lot of it is heating units and cooling units and stuff that hasn't been fixed. Some of it is sound, like our soundboard is really on the fritz. We took it in to be fixed 3 times this year, 2 times the year before, and 2 times the year before that. It's considered an imminent need in terms of what we need to do. So already this year, for example, we've incurred or committed to $54,000, almost $55,000 of repair expenses, which is a lot. But almost all of it was on things that were 20 years old. And like, for example, we repaired the stucco all the way around the building. That just had to be done. There's a number of replacement HVAC units which move hot air and cooled air around, and those have to be, when those are broken, they have to be replaced. Otherwise, you can get carbon dioxide in them, and we have kids here all week. We can't not fix those. But then coming up for next year, we know we have another $53,000 coming up next year. So what that comes to is about $108,000 of catch up building stuff. A lot of this stuff shouldn't have to be done again for years and years. We just haven't done it for years and years. So what that means is that the total unexpected cost for a building come to $108,000. Now, we've already saved up $25,000 of that, just based on the generosity people have already had. And there's about $17,000 in our building fund right now, so that can also be used. So what that means is that we're $65,000, basically $66,000 away from where we would need to be to get all that squared away in one fell swoop. And I think that would be really cool. If we could knock all that out in one big swoop, that'd be great. So we're talking about what kind of goal to set. So the idea is the year-end gift will be focused on that. That will be focused on making sure that every step forward we take forward, our missionaries take forward. So there's always an amount that we're going to commit to our missionaries, and hopefully a growing amount. And then the rest of that is going to be committed to some of our most urgent building needs. Now, I doubt that we're going to make $66,000 the goal. We might. I don't know. Last year, people gave $38,696. So I don't know, maybe 50 or 55. We're praying on what kind of goal to put before the congregation. And so we'll have a generosity focus that will focus on 3 things. 2 that are designed to help us train our children in year-end generosity. That is the Operation Christmas Child boxes, which are a fairly insubstantial way to teach particularly young children about generosity, particularly around Christmas time. And then we'll do Angel Tree, which is a little bit more substantive thing where you actually buy gifts for the children of incarcerated people through prison fellowship. And that's a little bit more substantial financially, a little bit more work, and including a little bit older kids will give you a little bit more of an example and teaching moment for them. And then third is this year-end giving. That sadly our church is not to the place where we can just totally turn out and just try to do as much as we can for everybody outside. We're still taking these steps out of the hole that we have to do methodically, but we're making progress, and hopefully this will be one of the last, maybe this year and maybe one more year, and we'll be out, and it'll be really exciting. So think about what you might give, think about how you can help us promote the importance of year-end giving, and hopefully just hearing this will help you feel a little bit better about where we're at and excited about what God is doing. God is doing some really cool things in our church and among our people, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on in small groups that there's just no way for us to know about. And so we're just trying to be faithful, and we know and trust good things are happening, but there's a lot of stuff we just can't organize and know, but God knows. And in 10 years, some of these things, in 10 years, in 5 years, in 15 years, we're going to see fruit that we didn't even know was growing, which is also exciting. So I hope you're excited about the end of the year. I hope you're excited about what's been happening in Gospel and Life. And please feel free to email or comment questions that you might have, and I'll try to answer them in real time. All right, guys, we'll see you.